you should go and see a chiropractor and see about alleviating your pain. And it has alleviated mine, that's for darn sure. I'm a member of CISA, which is the Southeast Edmonton Seniors Association, and they have FYI informations, and you were listed in there regarding knee and hip pain specifically. And because that's what I have been suffering from for the last couple of years, I thought, well, this would be good information for me. And so myself and a friend, who happens to be one of my best friends, who's had a chiropractor for 30 years and has been urging me to see a chiropractor. Why I didn't listen to her, I don't know. But anyway, I show up at this FYI, and lo and behold, it is a chiropractor speaking to us. And it sounded very reasonable, and I just felt, yes, I need to go and see about this. Of course, I have a doctor that I've had for over 25 years, and she's put me on the list for a hip replacement. But I go to my doctor. I don't like to say that I don't feel like anyone's looking after me, but really it's very quick. And she's limited by what she can do, just time-wise. And so you just feel like, yes, she gets the x-rays done, she gets all the preliminaries and all of that stuff and sent off and gets me on the list and that. And then it's just basically wait. And there's no treatment other than go to see a physiotherapist or go to a massage therapist. And that's about it. And I did that. And I did go to a physiotherapist, and I did go to a massage therapist. And yes, they had all the equipment and so on, the heat and the exercises and the bands and so on. And I've been to 4 physiotherapists, but for the hip, I felt that the physiotherapists I was seeing were more used to dealing with people that had sports injuries or who had maybe car accidents, people that they would see a big change in, which they're not going to see that in me. I was looking very desperately for someone who looked after older people who simply want to have a decent lifestyle with not so much pain, just able to carry on, do a bit of gardening, play with their grandchildren, get on a plane and go and visit people, walk around a few blocks and stuff like that. Not huge expectations. I'm 74, so I'm not expecting to play tennis again or do aerobic dancing or all of that kind of stuff. I used to teach that, but I think I'm very realistic, and what I would like to do is just to not hurt. And if it's just not hurting until I get my hip replaced, I phoned my doctor, and after that FYI session, just happened that I had lined up a phone appointment with my doctor that day, and I just said, oh, by the way, I was just, at this information site. It was a chiropractor. I've never gone to a chiropractor before. And I said, and he's offering this evaluation. She says, I think that's great. So I had her blessing, and I was also phoning her to say, how much Advil can you take? Because of all these warnings on the packages, sounds like you can't take it for longer than 10 days. Well, for a person with arthritis, it's not realistic. So she said, no, you're taking 2 pills a day, maybe 3 the odd time. She said, you can do that for years. Don't worry about it. So I'm feeling very good. I'm feeling like I've got my Advil. I have her blessing to go and see the chiropractor. And then the chiropractor, Dr. Tanti, it just turned out to be really quite revolutionary for me, because no one had ever, physiotherapists had never done, like there were, of course, a lot of the exercises that there were overlapping, that's fine, they're good exercises, but actually someone and I've had massage therapists very helpful for my muscles, but to ease the pressure on my bone, my hip and my knee and that, pulling it and that, remarkable, really has loosened me up. I know I've got to, I do yoga, I need to loosen up more and not be so uptight. That's not helpful, but all the suggestions that Dr. Tanti has made to me have all been very good suggestions, and they've all helped me, and it's really amazing how I think that if I hadn't gone, this is how I look at it, what if I hadn't gone to that information session and I hadn't started going to my appointments here, I really think that I would just be almost sitting and hoping not to hurt, and just tensing up and getting tighter and tighter. And really, I would have just made myself worse, and I would not be walking freely around and feeling as good as I do in the morning. Putting on my, I know that sounds crazy, putting on my socks, no problem. Before I was struggling, and I think he has also helped ease my fears about how much movement I could do. I was sort of fearful of doing movement. I was afraid of hurting myself and making things worse. And now I can see that I can do a lot more than I thought I could do. I push myself a little harder, and really I would encourage anyone just to have an open mind. What I feel like is, I mean, God bless my doctor, she's wonderful. She does what she can, but I feel like I am getting real care here. That is what I feel like.
You're on the wait list to get that surgically replaced. How's it feeling now? Like, is it constant pain still?
No, it isn't. It isn't. Really, sometimes I get up in the morning and I think I'd better take an Advil in case, like head it off at the pass, because once pain sets in, it's hard to get rid of it, whereas it's easy to just keep pushing back against it. I just find that you know, I was hurting a lot more. Now I'm almost not hurting.
That's awesome.
At all.
Yeah, that's amazing.
It is amazing.
So you haven't seen a chiropractor except recently. You're in your 70s. What would be something you might say to someone who was in your shoes just a month ago? Yeah. What would be something you might say to them?
Well, I have said this to my friends. Now, have you ever thought of going to a chiropractor? Have you ever been to a chiropractor? And most people, my demographic, say, no, I haven't. And I would say, well, you know, that was me. And of course, my mother and father, who were people who went through 2 wars in the Depression, and their medicine cabinet had like a bottle of Bayer aspirin in it, not much more. I mean, really, they didn't, and there was no health care. They didn't go to the doctor. They sure as heck didn't go to a chiropractor. And I think that was just kind of imbued, that maybe if you were like a hypochondriac or something, you would go to a chiropractor. And I think that my mother and father both, to their detriment, did not see doctors often enough. But I would say to anybody that's really is feeling like the healthcare system right now, which is not in great shape, and the doctors are feeling squeezed, and they can't give you much time, and they can only talk to you about 1 thing or 2 things or something, I would say go to a chiropractor, because they give you the time. You can talk about things that maybe you would never even say to your doctor, because you'd think, oh, they don't want to hear about this, you know, and really those things are important. And I think that's a big, big plus. You're probably holding back, just saying to you, well, I can only say 1 or 2 things to my doctor. I better only talk about this and this, and I won't get another appointment for 6 to 8 weeks. So I better, you know, you're doling it out, the information very piecemeal, and expecting this person to kind of put it all together, which is not reasonable to expect, but that is what the government has mandated. And whereas you can go to the chiropractor and just say your whole piece, and they get a holistic picture of you, and that has to be better than getting little bits of the puzzle and they don't have time to do that. They can't do it. So I would say, I would encourage you, if you feel that you're kind of just not getting the best treatment just because of the way things are, I would say, you know, you should go and see a chiropractor and see about alleviating your pain. And it has alleviated mine, that's for darn sure.